Hello, and welcome to my channel. I'm Mandy Grace, the author of a retelling of the legend of Robin Hood known as Return to Sherwood. It's week 3 of Preptober. I don't really know what I'm doing this week specifically. I want to get a firmer outline because I sort of outlined roughly last week and I'd like to tweak it this week. Otherwise, just watching more and reading more King Arthur stories. Yay! I'm not particularly excited about that anymore because the Fairy Queen bored me to tears when I was doing that one, and now I'm like 2 seasons into the Merlin show and also bored. I like this show. It's cute, it's likable, it's kind of quirky and charming and whatever. I liked it. But the characters aren't doing anything. They're not learning, they're not growing, they're not changing in any way from episode to episode, and it's driving me nuts. I don't like stagnant characters. I have a brand new tea, courtesy of one of my good friends. Gonna try it out. I have not been doing a lot for Preptober this week, which is fine. I mean, I've got most everything that I need to start a story because I do a lot of... Ada, what are you doing? Distracted by the dog. I do a lot of discovery writing when I fast draft the first draft. And because I already have basically an outline, I don't really need much. I have my character profiles, I have an outline, I don't really need much else. But I have been doing some more on the Pinterest boards, and I created 3 new character profiles last night, and then I did a lot of research on royal courts and like the households and, you know, all the various people required to run a castle, which you would think I would already know because I have 7 books written in like a feudal system time period. But I tend to focus very heavily just on the characters who matter in my stories, and anyone who's not a major player just really doesn't exist. And it's insanely obvious when pointless characters wander in. Like, there's a messenger that you only see for one scene, you're just like, wait, there are other people in this story? Yeah, but reading The Savior Sister by Jenna Moreci recently, I was really struck by the ensemble of people within the palace. I don't know, anyway, it was a very rich and diverse, like, group of people running the palace goings-on. And I was really struck by the fact that I don't generally have that sort of thing. So I made a giant list of various stations, the hierarchy of the servants, and like all of the different... We need a blacksmith for our castle because sometimes, you know, we need to fix people's armor or whatever, or we need this or that or the other. Anyway, I made a very giant list and highlighted it. I started going through and seeing which characters might interact with the twins that are my main characters. And then when I found some that I was like, it would make sense that the twins would interact with this person on a day-to-day basis, then I went and made a character profile for that person so that I'm ready when I start writing the story. Like, I know who this crazy person is. What are you doing? Huh? Where are you going? Nowhere? Just gonna hang out like that? Okay. Tonight is my last night to get things done for week 3 of Preptober, because I generally edit and upload the videos on Tuesday nights. I am working on character profiles right now, which means a lot of research and like scouring the internet for all the articles and blogs on like a specific character, let's say King Arthur, and then taking notes on how he's portrayed, which is vastly different for King Arthur and several other characters throughout the span of centuries of literature. He's portrayed rather differently. Oh, hey! Okay. had the adorable interruption, and then we played with the Hedgie, and then we had dinner, and now I'm back to talk about character profiles and the way that I'm doing them for this particular story. So yes, I do research and take a lot of notes about the various ways that characters are portrayed, and then I decide how I want my character to be based off of those varying reports. Sometimes it's a choice of like which one do I want, and sometimes it's like I want to like merge these various aspects together, and sometimes I'm like I don't like any of these, I'm gonna make my own. But anyway, I do that for each specific character, and while I'm doing the reading and note-taking, I'm also scrolling Pinterest and making a board for that specific character, which is not something I have done for any other story ever. Like, okay, with the publication of Return to Sherwood and Return to Grace, a few boards have been made, and that was my first experience with Pinterest boards for my books. But I didn't necessarily do the board. My sister was doing most of the board stuff because she does Pinterest, and I have a Pinterest, but I don't usually get on my Pinterest. But with this story, in the last 3 weeks of this Preptober, I have been on Pinterest so much, and I have like 15 different boards for the story already. Because I have like the story board, and then I have each character has their own board, and then I have like groups of people, like the twins have a board together with things that give me like the twin vibes. And then like the ladies in waiting and like the best friends of my main character, they have their own like group board, and then, you know, individually as character boards. There's so many boards, and I'm still adding characters. Right now I have my version of Arthur and Morgana, and then I have some original characters of my own, like the ladies in waiting, that are just my own people, required 0 research. And now I'm doing research on the individual knights and the parts they played in King Arthur lore, and then who they're like as a person, like how they're portrayed, which, like I said, is different for some of them depending on the story. And then also like what is their background in traditional lore, like, you know, who are their parents, how are they raised, what sort of love affairs are they involved in, because it's King Arthur and they're all involved in love affairs. It's ridiculous. I feel like because I'm doing a King Arthur story, I probably should have some of all of that nonsense, but I don't want it, so I don't believe I'm going to. I mean, I like the idea of courtly love and like all of that. Like I might have aspects of it, but I'm not going to have all of the like adultery and affairs and just all of that. I want nothing to do with it. There will be no King Arthur and Lancelot and Guinevere nonsense. I'm just telling you up front, there will not be. I'm also kind of wary of love triangles after my Robin Hood stories because I was a teenager when I first started writing the Robin Hood series, the original series, not Return to Sherwood and Return to Grace, but the original series. Oh, these ones over here. Anyway, I was a teenager and I incorporated a love triangle, and as a full-grown adult, I think I probably still would have had that arc, but it would have been done so differently because the way that it is so cringy, and I can't, it makes me uncomfortable. So yeah, after that, I'm just like, I can't do that to any more characters, even though I know I could probably do it justice now in a way that's not cringy and corny and awful. Yeah, I could probably do it in like a believable, likable fashion, but I just don't really want to. So we're avoiding that at all costs.